introduced the concept of a mole. I gave you a definition for a mole that I told you was not really the correct definition, but hopefully it helps you understand what a mole is. And the definition that I gave you, not the true definition, we said that a mole was the number of protons and neutrons needed to make a gram. Now, because that's the case, when we look at our periodic table, at our symbols, if we look at the average atomic mass, this basically tells us the average number of protons and neutrons. So if I have a mole of this element, I have this many moles of protons and neutrons, which means they would have a mass of this many grams. So sometimes when we read this as grams per mole, we call this number the molar mass. Now, we saw in a previous video that we could use the molar mass to take the number of grams and switch it into moles. We can also do the exact opposite and take the number of moles and switch it into grams. So let's look at an example of that. So the question here is, how many grams are in 2.5 moles of beryllium? So start with the number you know. Be real specific when you write it down. Write down the number with its significant figures. Write the unit. Remember, we abbreviate moles, M-O-L. And I like to write the symbol for what we're looking at. So in this case, beryllium is Be. Now, we learned how to use unit analysis back when we were doing unit conversions. And we're basically going to treat these grams to moles, moles to grams problems as a unit conversion. So we want to get rid of moles. So we want moles to cancel, so we have to put that on the bottom. We want to get grams, so we have to put that on top. Well, how do we know how many grams are in a mole of beryllium? Well, we look at our periodic table, we find our entry for beryllium, and we see that on average it has this many protons and neutrons. So 1 mole of beryllium would have a mass of this many grams. We call that the molar mass. So 1 mole of beryllium would have a mass of 9.0. I'm just going to write 12 because that gives me more significant figures than I need. So 9.012 grams in a mole. So if I want to find the number of grams, I simply multiply these two numbers. Now, if you take 2.5 and you multiply by 9.012, you get 22.5 something. But we really only want two significant figures in our answer. So after we got that number, we're going to round that off, and we're going to call that 23 grams of beryllium. So now you see that we can use this number, which we call the molar mass, to switch from grams to moles, or to switch from moles to grams.